Football fans, we have got genuinely great news to lead off with today, because the Washington Commanders just received a significant update on backup quarterback Marcus Mariota's knee injury, and it is considerably better than most fans were bracing for. We are also diving deep into the film from this team's preseason opener against the Miami Dolphins, breaking down exactly what the All-22 tape reveals about several key position battles, including a genuinely surprising development at center that could shake up this team's depth chart plans. So settle in, because there is a lot of encouraging news to share today. Let's start with that crucial injury update, because it has been revealed that Marcus Mariota suffered a sprained McNichols. And that diagnosis represents genuinely terrific news considering the alternative many fans were fearing. When he exited that preseason opener on the very first drive with what appeared to be a non-contact injury, plenty of people immediately began worrying that this team might have lost him for the entirety of the season. But looking back, the fact that he was able to walk off that field under his own power and appeared to do so relatively comfortably, combined with the lack of any immediate official confirmation that night, suggested this specific injury likely was not quite as catastrophic as initial fears suggested, and that additional testing would simply be needed to properly determine the full extent of the damage. That additional testing has now been completed, and the resulting news is genuinely excellent for this organization. Mariota is expected to miss only a few weeks, essentially the remainder of this preseason schedule, before returning as this team's backup quarterback in time for the regular season opener against the Philadelphia Eagles. There remains a small possibility he could miss that specific season opener, or even a game or two beyond that, depending on exactly how his recovery timeline unfolds. But the most important bottom line here is simple. Marcus Mariota's season is absolutely not over, and he should realistically be available relatively early in this upcoming regular season, if not immediately. This news carries genuine significance for this entire organization, particularly given that starting quarterback Jayden Daniels has dealt with his own injury concerns during each of his first two professional seasons. Had this specific injury to Mariota turned out to be significantly more serious, this team would have found itself in a genuinely precarious situation at the quarterback position, potentially relying on inexperienced depth options or needing to scramble to bring in outside veteran help had any unfortunate injury befallen Daniels as well. Fortunately, that worst-case scenario now appears extremely unlikely, and this organization can likely simply continue distributing preseason reps among its existing quarterback depth for the remainder of this exhibition schedule. Now, let's shift over to a comprehensive breakdown of exactly what the All-22 film review revealed from this team's preseason opener against Miami, starting with the offensive side of the ball. Left tackle Brandon Coleman, even in relatively limited action, looked genuinely solid on tape. That represents a real encouraging sign, particularly given that Coleman has reportedly been actively working alongside veteran Laremy Tunsil in tackle-specific drills throughout this offseason, soaking up every possible bit of knowledge while Tunsil remains under contract with this organization. Despite reportedly having a somewhat rough practice session earlier in the week leading up to this game, Coleman's actual game tape against Miami showed a player who looked considerably more comfortable and capable than that practice report might have suggested. Unfortunately, the news at center was considerably less encouraging, because starting center Julian Good-Jones simply struggled significantly on film. He was consistently driven backward in pass protection and repeatedly lost individual blocking matchups within the run game throughout this contest. It was, frankly, a genuinely rough outing for him on tape. And that struggle directly connects to a genuinely surprising, encouraging development elsewhere along this offensive line, because rookie center Matt Golden appears to already be a notably better overall player than Good-Jones, based purely on what showed up on film. Even though Golden was working primarily against a lower caliber of opposing competition, he consistently played with sound technique, effectively worked his way to the second level on various run-blocking concepts, and displayed genuine football intelligence and toughness throughout his snaps. Based on this specific performance, He already looks like he could realistically handle starting caliber center duties in this league right now if called upon. Given that level of encouraging tape, there is a genuine argument that Golden should be receiving the bulk of first-team practice reps at center, at least until the presumed veteran starter fully returns from his own injury. Once that veteran does return, he should absolutely receive the first opportunity to reclaim that specific job given his experience and financial investment from this organization. But the fact that this roster now has a genuinely credible, realistic contingency plan at center, even a late-round rookie capable of stepping in as a legitimate NFL starter if needed, represents a significant, positive development. To be clear, Golden likely would not immediately become one of the league's elite centers if forced into extended action. He would probably grade out as a slightly below-average starter in that scenario. But simply having that level of legitimate emergency depth option this early in a rookie's career is a genuinely encouraging sign worth appreciating. One final offensive takeaway worth highlighting involves running back Jerome Ford, who received only a single carry the entire night compared to 23 total carries for rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. If any fans were still holding out hope that Ford might factor into this team's plans this season, that specific usage pattern suggests those hopes are likely misplaced. Given how sparingly he was actually used in this specific game, combined with the earlier decision to draft Krosky-Merritt in the first place, it increasingly appears that Ford has become the clear odd man out within this crowded running back room, with rookie standout Robert Henry Jr. now looking like the more realistic candidate to potentially occupy a practice squad running back role for this organization moving forward. Now let's shift over to the defensive side of the ball, starting with rookie safety Sonny Styles, who has reportedly drawn some genuinely harsh criticism on social media following a specific clip showing him appearing to jog rather than sprint on a particular defensive rep. But after actually reviewing the complete film, that specific narrative appears considerably overblown. Yes, there were a small handful of less impressive reps scattered throughout his debut, but there were also several genuinely strong, encouraging reps mixed in as well. Given his well-documented high-motor playing style throughout his college career, there is genuinely little reason for concern regarding his overall effort level moving forward, especially considering this team appears likely to feature a genuinely deep, healthy rotation at that position throughout this season. Speaking of that deep linebacker rotation, Jordan McGee delivered a genuinely strong, legitimate performance in his own right. He displayed sound diagnostic instincts, showed real range running sideline to sideline, and flashed obvious natural athleticism throughout this contest. While it is certainly easier to look impressive against Miami's clearly overmatched backup quarterbacks specifically, McGee looked like a player genuinely capable of contributing meaningful snaps for this defense this season if called upon, offering real reassurance that this coaching staff could confidently deploy him in a larger role should any injury occur elsewhere within that linebacker room. Rookie pass rusher Joshua Joseph also continued flashing genuinely exciting, explosive traits throughout this specific contest. His first-step explosiveness is undeniably real, and he consistently gets to exactly where he wants to go on the field remarkably quickly. That specific trait was exactly what stood out most about his college tape as well. A player who may not have been the single most technically polished prospect available, but who possessed a level of raw first-step burst and overall speed that simply cannot be taught. Building on an already impressive start to training camp, he capped things off with a genuinely strong preseason debut performance as well. In the secondary, safety Quan Martin deserves real recognition for a strong showing that did not necessarily get enough attention immediately following this game. He delivered a genuinely nice tackle on a run stuff during the opening drive and also came away with a toe-tap interception later in the contest. Martin appears to be right in the thick of this team's ongoing competition for the starting free safety job, and while the current depth chart suggests a different veteran currently holds a slight edge in that battle, Martin's overall performance in this specific preseason debut was genuinely strong and worth continued monitoring as this competition plays out. Finally, cornerback Antonio Hamilton Sr. deserves real credit as well, because even though he ultimately exited this game with an injury, he was flying around the field with genuine energy throughout his time on it, whether in coverage or contributing on special teams. Bringing that level of competitive energy into a preseason contest as an established veteran is genuinely admirable, and it clearly showed up on film. With several veteran cornerbacks all currently competing to fill out the final depth spots on this roster, Hamilton's performance in this first real competitive action of the preseason positions him well within that ongoing battle, assuming his injury does not end up being a significant lingering issue. So there you have it, football fans, a genuinely encouraging update on both the injury and film review fronts following this team's preseason opener. Marcus Mariota's knee injury turning out to be far less serious than initially feared. Brandon Coleman looking genuinely solid in his limited action at left tackle. A surprising, encouraging development at center that gives this roster real emergency depth confidence. And multiple young defensive players from Jordan McGee to Joshua Joseph to Quan Martin, all flashing genuine, legitimate NFL-caliber ability in their own preseason debuts. Between the positive injury news and the encouraging film takeaways, this represents exactly the kind of comprehensive good news day this fan base needed heading into the remainder of this preseason schedule. So now it is your turn, and we genuinely want to hear what you think about everything covered in this update. How relieved are you to hear that Marcus Mariota's knee injury is simply a sprained MECL rather than something more serious? Are you surprised by how much better Matt Golden looked on film compared to Julian Good-Jones at center? And which defensive rookie are you most excited to continue watching develop throughout the remainder of this preseason? Drop your thoughts and predictions down in the comments section below because we absolutely love hearing what all of you think. If this update helped you get fully caught up on everything happening across this Commanders roster, do us a favor and smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach even more passionate fans just like yourself. And if you have not already subscribed, now is the perfect time, because we are going to be right here bringing you every single injury update and every bit of behind-the-scenes film analysis all the way through this incredibly compelling season. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you in the very next update. Hail to the Commanders!